Alright everybody, we're back the next day. This is part 2 of the tanning for the fox. Yesterday I fletched all the salt off of them. I put them in the salt brine for about 15 minutes, 15-20 minutes. Rinsed them off real good, flipped them back out, hair side out, hung them up over this other barrel to drain overnight. This morning I got up to go to work and I flipped them back skin side out. And what I like to do is put them on, pull them back down onto the beam so that they, when they start to shrink up as they dry, they can only go so far. This one I've already started, I just got home from work and I started pulling and stretching the face. Stretched out the face and everything, and it's still pretty flexible, pretty damp in some spots. Back here it's drier because this is so thin, and I just been pulling on it. It's not quite there yet to where, I mean, you can see a little bit of white, but it's not quite there yet. I flipped the ears out and put them, lay them the way that they're naturally supposed to be, just so when they start to dry, then, you know, I mean, all the cartilage is cut off, but I just flip them out. See, here's the underside. And then I just lay them back and cup them into their normal position so that they're going to dry the way they should. But I've already been stretching, like, the face and everything and some of the other parts of this one here. I mean, it's still fairly moist. Like I said, hung them up like this, let them drip off, take them down and just snap them to get the excess moisture off before you put them on the beam. And now what I'm going to do is let this dry, and then probably be tomorrow morning before I go to work. I'll start pulling on them, and if they're dry enough, then I'll put the tanning solution on, and then I'll be back with you for that. But they're turning out really nice, and I can't wait to get them done and show you. We'll talk to you when I get back with putting the tanning solution on. If you can see me here, good. I have the fox on the beam. I've stretched them out. They're dried enough to where I'm going to put this tanning solution on. I just want to set the camera up here so you can see it. It's kind of hard to set it here, but I'm using this kind of tanning solution. The directions are really good on the back of the bottle. I just put some water in a little bowl here and put it in the microwave for about 6 minutes to get it almost boiling. And then you set this in there for a half hour. And it's warm, and shake it up real good. So I got this fox ready to go. What I want to show you is a few tips that I use for these. I got the tail laid out here. I got a tack in the end of it, but what I did is I took a damp cloth and brushed the hair back to keep the hair out of it. You don't want to get this in the hair. If you do, you want to wipe it off. But I dampen the hair just a little bit so I can get it all the way down that tail. And then on these legs, I take them pieces of PVC when it's drying, and I slide them up in there and let them stay in there. So then when it starts to dry, that's all the smaller it can get. And then I twist them on there, and that breaks up the fibers when it's starting to dry. So I'm just going to leave it like that. I'm going to try to set this camera up here for you so you can see me putting the solution on here. And I'm sure it's not gonna work real well, but we're gonna try it. Alright, so I got the hair pulled back on the tail. So I'm going to do that first. What you do is just pour it on here a little bit at a time. Rub it in with the gloves. I'm going to just do this tail first before I get too much of this on my gloves. And I just want to get this tail done and then I can be done with that, and then I can slide this whole fox down the beam. Just put it on there on the hide and brush and rub it in there. Good. Get it covered. Okay. It's a lot easier for me when I do it on this beam like this. Then I can just turn it as I go. Go up the back first here. Just go all the way down. And then when I get the back done, I will just turn it over and do the belly and then slide it down and go to the head. So just want to show you that. I'm going to put the tanning solution on both these hides. Then I'm going to turn them back in so they're flesh on flesh. I'm just going to pull them back inside out, flesh on flesh, and lay them down and let them set overnight. And then tomorrow I'll pull them back out fur side out, and I'll show you the breaking process. But there's not going to be much breaking process on these fox because they're so thin. And these, I believe these are going to be probably the two nicest fox I've ever done. They are turning out so beautifully, and there's hardly any holes in them. I mean, there's a little nick there, but that's just from where I shot it. But no, they're turning out just beautifully. Tomorrow I'll turn them back out and let that stuff start to dry, and then when it starts to dry more, then I'll show you the breaking process, and I'll show you the final product. They're gonna be just beautiful foxes. But until tomorrow, or when I start to break these, then I'll come back to you and I'll show you that process. Thanks for watching. We're gonna finish breaking these hides now on the fox. They're done. I've had this one on the beam and the other one's hanging up. I've had them both on the beam, and I've stretched them by hand to where they're white and they're ready. They're dried and they're ready to go. So what I'm gonna do is pull this one off the beam. I'll put it over here on my wheel and just break it. It doesn't take a lot on these fox. I mean, they're super thin. The front legs need a little bit, but not much. I mean, like I said, they're thin. You just want to be real careful when you're doing this. Don't go pulling too hard. If there's any kind of nick or cut in it, and you go across something like this, or you're pulling it to break it, you could tear a big hole in it. And if you've got this much work into it up till now's not the time to screw something out. So, I mean, it is a lot of work, but wait till I turn this fox inside out and you see what I ended up with, because it's going to be beautiful, and I'm going to be very proud of it, and I'm going to have it hanging on my wall. And let's do the back legs here. I mean, it doesn't take much on these fox. They're so thin. And then do the tail. I stretch the tail by hand, but I mean, that's about all there is to it. I mean, this one can dry just a little bit more, but he's dry, he's broke. He's about as soft as he's going to get, and I mean, which is very soft. And then all I got to do is turn this inside out. Easier said than done, I guess, when I'm on the camera here. Just reach up in there and get a hold of the nose. Pull him out. Pull the ears back out. Give him a shake. I mean, it just turned out beautiful. I mean, it's a beautiful fox. I'm going to hang it up there on the wall, like I said, with all the coyotes and the fox that I trapped this year behind when I built the bar. Just turned out really, really good. I mean, it's just beautiful. So that's the steps I use. I got to turn them front legs out too, but I'll do that in a little bit. I really appreciate you watching. This has been a great video for me to put out for you. I hope you enjoy it. I hope you learned something from it. And if there's something you need to know, leave a comment below and I'll try to answer it for you. Thanks for watching.